Mike, before we get to all the fun stuff, is it hot in here or is it just us, man?
The rumor mill says that the temperature is still in the 80s. As we are taping this, it's got to be sometime after 11 o'clock on Thursday night.
Well after 11 o'clock.
And it's still warm. It's still humid. I know at first pitch tonight it felt like, I want to say 93 or 94 with the humidity. It's still a touch on the humid side, but I don't think any TinCaps fans really care about the weather. I think they're going to revel in what we're going to talk about, one of the biggest comeback wins in franchise history, TinCaps history and franchise history. And someone has to send this game to Ripley's Believe It or Not, because, you know, game was half over, 4.5 innings, and the TinCaps were down 11-2, and who would have thought they did come back and score 10 unanswered runs and beat Peoria on a night when the executive producer from the Dan Le Batard show was here in the house, and that's another story on itself.
Yeah.
But I'll take the weather right now. It sure beats the snow in January, so let's enjoy it while we can.
You'll take humid with a win as opposed to perfect weather and a loss. Mike, honestly, first week back, I'm a little rusty. Haven't done TinChattin in a while. I didn't know what we were going to talk about. I mean, teams kind of struggled here in the second half. Things haven't really been going the way that they would like. And then Thursday night happens, and you mentioned it, the largest comeback in TinCaps history, ties the largest comeback in franchise history, going back to the Fort Wayne Wizards days. And I'll just ask you the question like this, Mike. Have you ever seen anything like what we saw on Thursday night with a darn near sold-out crowd here at Parkview Field?
Not in the sense of the surroundings and the situation, a Thirsty Thursday. The other time that Fort Wayne came back from a 9-run deficit was back in 1994 against South Bend at Memorial Stadium. And there was no Thirsty Thursday at that time. It was just the second year of the franchise, and they trailed South Bend 9-0 and came back to win 10-9. But this was a Thirsty Thursday, which is the most popular night of the week in the entire Midwest League. And it's always a well-attended night. You had a team that just snapped a 3-game losing streak the night before and got some excellent pitching. Ryan Weathers went 6 innings and only gave up 3 hits. And the bullpen retired all 9 batters they faced. And he got a 6-2 win over Peoria to snap that 3-game losing streak. And then you come back Thursday night, and Peoria jumped out early, 2 in the first, 3 in the second, 3 more, I believe, in the fourth. And the TinCaps got 2 runs back in the bottom of the fourth, and then a 3-run 5th inning. And the game's half over, and you look at the scoreboard, and it's 11-2, Peoria. And they're hitting on all cylinders. They were getting good starting pitching. They were getting the hits, obviously, and the runs. And the TinCaps were in search of answers. Well, they got some answers, especially offensively, and led by Juwan Harris. And Harris had 2 home runs, including the granny in the bottom of the 8th that tied the game. And Blake Hunt had a home run, and he has hit the ball really well since the end of May. I think in his last 34 games, and he had 2 hits Thursday night. He's hitting somewhere close to 320. And lo and behold, from 11-2, it becomes, well, 11-6, so 11-7, and then who would have thunk it in the bottom of the 8th after the first batter was retired? Back-to-back-to-back walks created the situation for Juwan Harris, and he spanked it, make no bones about it, over the wall in left center field. And there were over 7,000 fans in the house Thursday night, and they loved it. And at that point, the game is tied, and you're thinking, okay, look at all the energy that has been expended. They've tied the game. Can they go that one step further? And lo and behold, they did.
And obviously, Juwan Harris, undoubtedly the star of the show on Thursday night. Here's a guy that, Mike, not known for his power, but he steps up, and we talked to him after the game, and we're going to play a little bit of that interview here in a moment. His parents got into town earlier today. Mom and Dad were here at Parkview Field to see both of his home runs, including the game-tying grand slam. And, you know, he's struggled at times this year, but, I mean, AC mentioned it after the game to me, like, that's what you're in this business for, is to see moments like that and have these kids experience moments like that.
You know, you look at a person like Juwan Harris. He has struggled in terms of batting average. Coming into the game on Thursday night, he was hitting just 177. He raised his average up 6 points. The 2 home runs give him 5 for the year. The 5 runs batted in, I believe, gives him 21. And that's just the actual during the game happenings. There's also that intangible of being a member of the team and in the clubhouse and in the locker room and on the bus and wherever. And when you get an athlete who excels, whether it's by a game or whether it's by a series or a week or a season, it'll rub off on his teammates. And when you got, at this level, when you got teammates that are willing to coin a phrase, go to bat for each other. Nights like Thursday night, it's what it's all about. And everyone benefits. Juwan Harris benefits, the Tin Caps benefit, the fans here at Parkview Field benefited. They saw the great comeback. And it's the beauty and the joy of baseball.
And as I said, just moments after the Tin Caps completed the largest comeback in Tin Caps history, tying the largest comeback in franchise history, Juwan Harris took a few moments to catch up with us outside the locker room.
Well, to start the game off, you know, we were down by a good amount of lump sum of runs. So trying to get back in the game is always hard when you come back from a deficit like that. But, you know, we just kept scraping away, kept attacking. I hit the first one. I felt good at the plate. Just seeing the ball well, I thought, towards the end of the game. And just for me to be able to do that, you know, it's just exciting. I barely can tell you what pitch it was or what really happened, but I just know it was a great moment for everyone.
How do you guys stay mentally locked in when you're down 11-2 in a baseball game?
Oh, we know we have the ability to come back at any time. It's just the focus and effort we put into it. So when we're putting in focus and effort and grinding ABs and trying to get after these pitches, you know, there's always something that can happen.
I believe I heard biggest comeback in Tin Caps history. What's it feel like to be a part of, you know, a historic night like this?
Oh, it feels great, obviously. I mean, the crowd's here, Thursday, fireworks. You know, it's a lot going into it. And to come back and have a win like this, it's pretty cool to be part of.
Where does this one rank for you personally? I mean, to hit the game-tying grand slam and the biggest comeback in team history, for you personally, where's this game rank?
Personally, I think this has to be number one. Just because my parents got here this morning and was here to see this, which is really fun to see. And then for us to come back, to tie it up and then win, I think this is number one.
So, Mike, obviously great to see Juwan come through with probably the game of his life on Thursday. Tin Caps' most exciting win of the season, no doubt. And now we look ahead and what can they do with this win? How much momentum, Mike, can a win like this give a baseball team moving forward as you look ahead to the rest of the second half?
Well, you have to stop and think. With the win on Thursday night, the second half record is 9-17. Still in the basement in the 8-team Eastern Division. The good news is that Fort Wayne is fighting just 5 other teams for a playoff spot in the second half and not 7. Great Lakes has qualified. Lake County has qualified, so they don't count in the second half. So the challenge is not as great as it was in the first half. There is still a long ways to go. But now what the Tin Caps have to do is keep the pedal on the metal.
Mike, always a pleasure, my friend, but it's hot. I'm sweating. My back kind of hurts. Your voice is hoarse after calling probably one of the greatest games in franchise history, and it's almost midnight. So what do you say we call it a night?
If you say so, unless you want to do a season in review. Now we could go for the next 6 hours.
Let's just go for an hour. We can fill till like 11:30 or something.
No, it was a long night, Peter, but a good night for the Tin Caps and the fans of Fort Wayne, and we can relish in the win. And let's hope it's something that we'll see more of down the road over the next 6.5 weeks.
Mike Moss, Peter Hood, that'll do it for this week's edition of TinChattin. We'll do it all again next week, and we hope you'll join us then. And for now, we hope you'll stick around because there's much more coming up in the locker room right after these messages.